For problems 39 through 41 of this first ACT practice test, we need to use this following information. Trapezoid ABCD is graphed in the standard XY coordinate plane below. For problem 39, we need to know what is the slope of the line CD. So the line CD, you can see here, this line, where this point represents C and this point represents D. So to find the slope of a line, we need to first understand what slope actually is. So slope, usually denoted with the letter M, is just equal to how much the y values change divided by how much the x values change. Or in other words, we can write it as the change in y values divided by the change in x values. Anytime you see this triangle here, or this delta, it generally refers to change in whatever it's next to. So slope is just how much the y values change divided by how much the x values change. And it's often thought of as the rise divided by the run. So to determine how much the y or the x values change, you want to think of it as whatever the final position is minus the initial position. So the change in y values could be thought of as the y final minus the y initial. Or we could think of it in more general terms by just writing y2 minus y1, where you're essentially dealing with two coordinate points, x1, y1, and x2, y2. So we have, for change in y, that it's y2 minus y1, and you want to be consistent when using the numbers. For a change in x, it's going to be x2 minus x1. You don't want to mix up these numbers here. You want to make sure the starting values for each your y and your x come from the same coordinate point. So now that we have a better idea for what slope actually is, let's just apply it to our particular problem. So our slope, our m, remember, is just our y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So let's call this point here our x2, y2, though you can call this point x2, y2. It really makes no difference as long as when you pick it that you're consistent. So we'll use this point as our x2 and our y2. So our y2 is just the value of 1, and our x2 is the value of 12. And then we want to subtract y1 and subtract x1 here. Now y1, you can see, is just the value of 4, and x1 is the value of 9. So once we've plugged everything in, we just need to carry out the arithmetic. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. 12 minus 9 is just positive 3. And minus 3 divided by 3 is minus 1. And the fact that we got a negative slope should make sense because this line is sloping downwards. This line over here, we would say, would have a positive slope. But lines that slope in this direction, we would say, have a negative slope. So our final answer for the question of what the slope is for this line CD is simply letter B, negative 1.